Welcome back to Fight News Now. John Pollock with you, and we are joined by Fight Network Boxing / Holly Holm analyst Corey Erdman. Back again, Corey. You have brilliantly politicked your way into yet another show this week.
I have. I'm fresh off a trip to Albuquerque, where my new the home of my beat is now.
Yes. If you see that tent just outside Jackson Winklejohn, it's Erdman's.
There I am.
Lots to talk about this week. First of all, let's rewind to this past weekend. Miguel Cotto and Saul Canelo Alvarez. Tell us a bit about your takeaways of Canelo's performance and what this sets up for him in 2016.
Well, I thought it was a very impressive performance from Canelo Alvarez. He was able to overcome what we were talking about last week. He was able to take out an intelligent fighter in the ring. We've seen him struggle with guys who were able to employ a game plan and box intelligently against him in the past, namely Floyd Mayweather, maybe the best fighter of the generation, and Erislandy Lara, But this time, it was his size, it was his power, and it was the hand speed as well. I was very impressed with Canelo, and I don't think that despite what people are saying about the scorecards, I don't think there's a case to be made for Miguel Cotto winning this fight. If you want to say this was an 8-4 fight, I'm fine with that, but it was a clear, decisive victory for Canelo.
As you look ahead, I mean, is the Golovkin fight, is that the number one fight to make, and how realistic is that fight? Are there going to be any hurdles to putting that fight together?
Well, the major hurdle is going to be the weight, and Canelo has come out and said, listen, at this point, I think you're going to have to come down to 155 pounds at a catch weight if you want to fight me, and a lot of people have a problem with that, but the fact remains that Canelo had to go to a catch weight to face Miguel Cotto in order to win this title as well. So when you're the A side, when you're a guy who can sell upwards of 1 million pay-per-views, or you've been a part of million-plus pay-per-view attractions, you're afforded those luxuries. It's not fair, but it is something that Triple G is probably going to have to concede if he does want to get in the ring with Canelo.
And conversely, Miguel Cotto, you look at him, this is a guy that I think he is still a draw. Mm-hmm. However, at his age now, we're definitely looking at the tail end of his career. How much more is left from Miguel Cotto, and what is out there for him to prove?
Well, that's the question, because Miguel Cotto clearly isn't a natural middleweight, so it's not like he's going to go and fight Triple G, because, you know, we saw what happened against Canelo. For Cotto, if he sticks in the 154-pound weight class, or if he still can melt down to 147, certainly he could be competitive and beat a lot of the top names in the sport. The difficulty will be with his affiliation with Rock Nation. They're not going to do any business with any of the PBC fighters because there's been a long-standing lawsuit, legal troubles between Rock Nation and between Al Heyman, so that's probably not going to happen. One of the reasons that Cotto has been able to get all these big fights, especially in the latter half of his career, is because he's been able to be a free agent and negotiate with anyone, but he's not in that position now. So while there are fights that he can win, there are intriguing fights, I don't know how many of them can actually be made.
This coming weekend, if you like to play the 6 degrees of separation boxing version and you have to connect Nevin Pikic to Vladimir Klitschko, the connector will be Tyson Fury this weekend, the undefeated heavyweight, going to Germany to take on Klitschko. Aside from his worldviews, Tyson Fury, I mean, is this anything that you look at as any kind of a hiccup for Vladimir Klitschko?
Well, I will say that this is the most intriguing heavyweight fight that could possibly be made, and I've said that probably for the past year. I think that Tyson Fury, and you brought up Nevin Pikic, the fact that Tyson's been dropped by Nevin Pikic and dropped by Steve Cunningham and wobbled in other fights kind of obscures the fact that for a 6'9", guy that probably walks around north of 300 pounds, he is impressively agile and has some boxing skill and has some things that could, in theory, trouble Vladimir Klitschko. Now, again, that chin is going to be an issue. His temperament in the ring is going to be an issue. If he wants to brawl with Klitschko, that might get him in trouble, or it might actually pose some kind of difficulty for Klitschko. The one thing that's intriguing about this fight for me, John, is the fact that Klitschko usually is able to come in the ring and everyone has to game plan around him. But just because of Fury's size in this fight, this might be one of the times when you actually have to see Vladimir make an adjustment in the ring. So I am looking forward to that.
Quickly, where are you going to be this weekend?
I am going to be on NBC. I have the privilege of working alongside Marv Albert and Sugar Ray Leonard, so I'm going to feel a little bit out of place in that one. But we have a nice triple header on Premier Boxing Champions this week, and an intriguing one featuring Jamal Charlo, Errol Spence, and Erickson Lubin. 3 guys who, over the past 2 years or so, have all been tabbed by one person or another as the future of boxing, at least in America. So a nice little triple threat action in the afternoon on NBC.
All right, and maybe next week we'll get Marv Albert's thoughts on Holly Holm.